I'm happy to be joined today on Primetime Local News by Jack Burnett, and Jack is the managing editor of the Old Farmer's Almanac. Welcome. We are pleased to be speaking with you today, Jack.
Stacy, it's great to be with you and your viewers.
Well, I want to talk about the Almanac itself, and this has obviously been around for many, many years. But for those who may not be familiar, tell me just a little bit about what the Almanac actually is.
Sure, the Old Farmer's Almanac was founded 230 years ago outside Boston. The special Canadian edition is about 40 years old. So the Old Farmer's Almanac is the one with the yellow cover, hole in the corner, and so on. And we have everything from weather, which is only about 5% of the Old Farmer's Almanac, to food, gardening, history, humor, astronomy, just about everything you can think of. So we're very fortunate that we have many hundreds of thousands of members of our family in all across Canada, and especially in the Saskatchewan, Alberta area.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about the weather predictions, because a lot of people look forward to the predictions that come out from the Almanac. So can you tell me what the weather forecast is predicted? Let's start with the winter first for this area for the upcoming, I guess probably in the next couple months, we'll see some snow.
Yeah, we'll actually see the snow, beginning a normal time, late November, December. The fall, September this month and October doesn't look like anything particularly out of the ordinary. Winter, for those folks who already have their OFA, Old Farmer's Almanac, they'll see that we have what's called a snow train. That starts over a little bit to the east of you, but includes you too, which we see as a series of storms sort of chugging across the prairies and actually ending up over in Atlantic Canada throughout much of the winter. We didn't know how else to describe it. If you look at a meteorology textbook, you're not going to find the term snow train. But, that's what we see for your area. We see more snow. We see it colder than normal. And just generally a good old Lloydminster winter.
And now what about looking forward to the summer of 2021? What's that looking like? Because I know you guys do predict well in advance.
Yeah, summer we're seeing being relatively mild, but slightly wetter than normal. That being said, we don't see any particular problems for crops and farming, that type of thing, because the increment is really not that great. So wetter than normal, yes. Something to worry about, not really.
And now, how do you predict so far in advance? What type of models do you use, or how do you go about it? Because I know the old joke is that most weathermen can never get the weather right on a daily basis. So how does it work when you're predicting that far ahead?
Right. Well, that's an excellent question. We actually use the same three factors that were used by the founder of the Old Farmer's Almanac, who was a guy named Robert B. Thomas outside Boston in 1792. So he used three things. They were what we now call climatology, which is the long-term weather trends in an area. Of course, back then he was looking at journals and talking to travelers and things like that. The second thing is what we now call meteorology, kind of the science of the air, how air masses work in a particular area because of mountains or lakes or whatever. The third thing, though, that we take into consideration is solar radiation. So this guy Thomas, he had a notion that solar radiation and sunspots had something to do with weather. So that's how he started making his forecasts, and they turned out to be accurate. So his almanac, which at the time was Thomas's Farmer's Almanac, eventually in the 1840s they added the name "old" to it because it became the oldest one. One of the reasons being that it was accurate. So by now, of course, it's all been computerized. And what we do, Stacy, is that we take patterns we try to find patterns in the past that resemble the present. Then, knowing those three things that are important to us, we go back in the past and we see what happened next back then. And we say, knowing those three things, would it make sense for what happened next back then to happen next now? So it's all computerized. That's kind of how we do it. But we are in the fourth year of a 4-year experiment where we're going to tweak our old formula ways a little bit to account for climate change. We think we have that figured out. So we're really close to our average accuracy of about 80%. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down, but we're usually right around that number.
Now, also in the almanac, there's so many other things in there. You've got gardening tips, there's recipes, moon cycles, astronomy, astrology, a little bit of everything. How do you decide what goes into this, and how long does it take you to put it together?
Well, again, great questions. We have many different possibilities for things to put into the Old Farmer's Almanac Canadian edition. And people often ask me on shows like yours, well, where do they come from? And the answer is they come from your viewers. Because we get, at the Old Farmer's Almanac, we actually pick up the phone. Human beings do that. We answer mail, we answer emails, and people send us ideas from all over Canada. And I have to say, especially the prairies. So that's how we get the input that we need to keep on doing it year after year. And to answer your question, we're already hard at work on the 2022 Old Farmer's Almanac Canadian edition, and we're starting to get some ideas rounded up for the 2023 edition too. So we work well in advance to make sure that everything is checked out very carefully before it finally goes on sale in the August before the cover year.
Now, Jack, if anybody wants to get a hard copy of the almanac, I know some people have moved to digital and prefer that, but if they'd like to go old school and get a hard copy, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people do go to almanac.ca, which is our huge website with lots of free stuff. But if you can't get it, you should be able to get it locally. Drugstores, hardware stores, big box stores, supermarkets, any place that carries books and magazines, they should be able to get it. If they can't, but we really hope that they can support local. If they can't, then Amazon.ca also has lots of them.
Okay, well, Jack, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to speak with you today. We really enjoy looking through all of the articles, and I noticed that social media, your Facebook page has a lot of updates on this as well. So if people are looking to submit ideas or want updates, what's the best way to get that information to you?
Best way is to go to almanac.ca and use the feedback feature, and believe me, we get them and we answer them. So as I say, we especially appreciate folks in the prairies and in your area. We know they participate and value the same things we do. So it's always nice to reach out to them.
All right, well, thank you so much, Jack. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today, and we'll keep track and see how accurate your weather forecasts are here heading into the next couple of months.
Stacy, thank you very much, and stay warm.
Thank you.